'Tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back, glad to see you looking fresh, and the Mario movie has finally come out. It's a real movie. I saw it in a real movie theater. It exists. And that's crazy to say, because I think we all kind of expected, I don't know what we expected, but it wasn't the fact that this was going to be a real movie. But it's here, and I liked it. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a pretty good movie. In fact, when it comes to animation, I have different criteria that I judge other movies by, because I think even though animation is, of course, cinema, and it should be judged as such, you can do anything in animation, so whenever there is dull and drab stuff going on, if it's not clearly intentional, I kind of knock it more points to the fact that creativity is very important when directing animation. And these directors have worked with Teen Titans Go, which is a show that I'm not overly fond of, but the movies that they also worked on, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, was actually great. And I think that kind of creativity is very much welcomed here. And of course, they had to work hand in hand with Nintendo, which is a company that is known for their creativity, is known for pushing boundaries and just having fun with their IPs. And this is no different. This is a ton of fun. I'm not the only one here today talking about this movie. My friend Hero the Main, of course, I will link their channel down below, watched it, and we are doing a collab. You can watch the other part on their channel where we go through the old Mario movie from the 90s.
Hello, my dears. Hero here, and I am happy to guest appear on Marinara Man's channel. I am a huge Nintendo nerd. I post a lot of videos about Mario. Mr. Man and I have been interacting / friends on YouTube for a little while now. It's been fun to follow each other's journey, and we've finally come together for this long anticipated, for us, this has been a long time coming, collaboration.
Thank you, Hero. I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit and may get some of their opinions more as we go through this, but I thought that the movie's creativity and its overwhelmingly positive use of animation is a big thing for me, because Illumination is bad. I'll say it bluntly. I do not think Illumination is a good studio. I think that their movies are typically pretty average to poor, and I just don't like them. So when they were announced to be making the Mario movie, it was a big red flag. And, obviously Nintendo really pushed them to do better than what they're typically made of, because the animation here is far and above the best that studio has ever done. I think the writing, you can say, is some of the best they've ever done. When thinking about what is their best movie other than this, some people would say like the first Despicable Me, and you have like the Minions before the Minions were a nuisance on society.
Looked great. Probably the best looking Illumination film. Easy. The Rainbow Road stuff was awesome. I want to see it again. I saw the movie the first time in 3D, and it wasn't necessarily a movie that needed 3D. Weirdly, I would have felt like it would have been more like intense with the whole 3D experience, but it was fun. There were like surprising moments, so it was like a kind of movie where you forgot that you were wearing 3D glasses, especially if you already are doing glasses over glasses. You kind of just like forget they're there, and then something would like pop out and you're like, oh yeah, this is 3D. Honestly, any way you see this movie, it's a visual feast. The 3D is like a little added bonus, so if you don't mind putting on the glasses, you might as well get a little extra something. But if you despise the glasses, you're not really missing out either by seeing the movie in 2D, in my opinion. Honestly, like everything from New York to the Mushroom Kingdom, you do get to have a nice Mario journey that moves around. Part of me was hoping for like a couple more shout outs to previous Mario worlds, but there was always like something fun to look at. Everything moved very nice. There's not much I can say with like how the movie looked, because it's like I want to comment on all the little visual details that are spread throughout. But you gotta go for yourself and catch those little details, spot those little references for yourself. There's a good array of things. There's definitely some deep cuts that online people have been posting about that I definitely didn't notice. And I know a lot of people, the fear with Illumination Entertainment being the one animating this film, that it was going to be very lazy, like minimal effort, but everything is lit really well. They brought in vehicle designers to design Mario Kart vehicles and make those look good. Faces are super expressive. There's a lot of motion, running, jumping, punching things, as there should be in a Mario movie. And that's actually something that I should mention, the action in this movie. You have two brutes in this film. You have Donkey Kong and Bowser, both toss around Mario. And part of his character trait is he can take a beating, which they really sell that by how the punches look. It really does look like Donkey Kong and Bowser are trashing this human man. He's from Brooklyn, New York, but he keeps getting back up after these hits that look devastating. So good job to the animators and the action choreographers on that.
I think this might be their best script, too. It's nothing grandiose. It's nothing overly complicated. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. We have Mario and Luigi, and they are transported to the Mushroom Kingdom, and they get separated, and Luigi gets captured by Bowser, and Mario has to team up with Peach and Toad, and they have to try to rescue him. So they go see Donkey Kong, and crazy stuff ensues. Great. Simple enough story, simple enough characters. I know all these characters because I've known them for so long. Bowser, Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, Donkey Kong. Other Kongs show up. There are references to other characters and stuff, which those are great. I've known them forever. But I think the movie does a good enough job of showcasing and portraying who these characters are without having to delve in way too much about their backstories or this, that, and the other thing. I also think that the references in this movie are delightful. As some people might sit here and just complain that, there's too many references, there's too much Easter eggs, I don't like it. I don't know what you're doing here then. Why did you go see a Mario movie if you didn't want to see references to Mario stuff? Right? This pulls stuff from the games, all kinds of games, right? It's plucking stuff from Smash Brothers, it's plucking stuff from Mario Kart 8, it's plucking stuff from Super Mario 3D World, Mario Odyssey, 64, like the original 8-bit, and there's other Nintendo properties that are referenced in this as well. So it doesn't play favorites. It doesn't just say, like, the two newest Mario games are the ones we care about. Like, it's not just an Odyssey and Mario Kart 8 thing. That's it. That's not what this is. It references all kinds of stuff. It even references, like, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which is crazy because that show, I think, is kind of talked down on at this point. Like, classic 80s kind of cartoon where probably beloved by kids of the 80s, but not really remembered all that great. So, to see that just existing in this world, I think is really good.
Cool thing about this movie that I think is kind of a way to make up for the sins of the past, at least in the eyes of Shigeru Miyamoto. The whole movie is framed the same way the original Mario movie from the 90s was framed. What do I mean by that? Well, both movies open in Brooklyn, New York, with the brothers struggling as plumbers. They're trying to make their way in the city. But then it's through their teleportation to another world where they really come into themselves. They become the Super Mario Brothers. The movie is not perfect, of course, but I liked what they did there. Marinara Man and I were definitely curious on how they would reference the original Super Mario Bros. Movie, how they would maybe poke fun at it, but I never imagined they would do it to that degree. It's kind of beautiful. It's kind of glorious. Of course, there was a reference to the Super Mario Bros. Super Show with the Plumbers commercial that the two brothers put out. This was also like the Super Bowl ad that came out before the Mario Bros. Movie. It was awesome then. It's awesome in the movie. That Super Mario Bros. Super Show theme is a banger. And if you want to see me react to some Super Mario Bros. Super Show, I got a bunch of videos reacting to that cartoon on my channel. To anyone who's played Super Mario Sunshine, the eel level, that underwater eel, makes a little cameo, so that was pretty awesome. At first, this movie's voice cast was all anybody could talk about. I mean, it was the very first information we were given before we saw anything animated. We were just told, these actors are playing in the Mario movie, and the Mario movie's happening. But everyone gave the best performance they could. It was either perfect fit at best, or at worst, it was, I can easily immerse myself still. It's not an offensive voice. Let's put it this way. Chris Pratt Mario, I can believe more than Ryan Reynolds Pikachu. But yeah, of course, Mario's voice was the most average, which Mario is your everyman. Chris Pratt's the safe pick. He wasn't bad, but despite all the memes early on in the Mario movie advertising, there's really not a lot to talk about with him. I would give it a C, maybe a B-. If I can't hammer it in enough, it was average. My favorite voice performances in the movie: Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, Jack Black Bowser. Diddy Kong had one speaking line. I liked him. Final voice performance that I want to comment on was Toad's. I thought from the trailers I would find Toad much more annoying. He's fine. He's not as good as the Toad from the Super Show.
I'm not your little cheapie.
But Keegan-Michael Key did mask his voice in a way that he didn't sound like himself. He sounded like a Toad, I guess. He wasn't just being there throwing his name and his voice around in this animated kids film. He was trying to voice act and be this zany Toad. I didn't love what he was doing, but I didn't hate what he was doing.
The voice cast was something that caused a big, I don't even know what to say, a big question mark, a big stink. There's a big fuss about who these actors were portraying these characters, and some of them I thought they kind of nailed ahead of time. Charlie Day as Luigi was great. Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, I think, is a great choice. Jack Black as Bowser, obviously great. Some other ones that were more questionable, obviously Chris Pratt as Mario, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was a bit surprising. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. I thought Keegan-Michael Key was excellent. I could not even tell it was him. If you had to make me guess who that was, that would have been a toughie. The rest of the actors, I probably could have got there. But, Seth Rogen is a little different. He is doing some voice work. He isn't just being himself. Donkey Kong does laugh, and it does sound a little bit like the regular Seth Rogen laugh, but it is a little different. And the big elephant in the room, Chris Pratt's Mario, is better than I think we all anticipated it to be. It's pretty good. It's obviously not Charles Martinet doing it. But I do think that maybe an hour and a half of Charles Martinet could have been draining, as much as people don't want to admit that. I think having him be toned down a little bit, having more of a Brooklyn accent with those flourishes of the wahoos and here we goes and stuff like that, I think that works well, and it makes it so it's enjoyable without being grating on anybody. And that's one of this movie's strengths, is that it is clearly made with kids in mind. This isn't a movie directly pointed at kids, being like, only they're going to enjoy this, kind of like how the Minions movies are, which, that's fine. If you want to make a movie solely pointed at kids, this one is very kid-focused, but I think anybody can enjoy it, right? When I was in the theater and watching it, and, I was enjoying it, there's a lot of kids around, a lot of families around, and everyone was having a good time. I don't think there was one person in there that was mad. Not one person in there that was having a tough time getting through it. I'm sure there are parents in there that don't care about Mario, that their kids just love it, so they had to go opening night. I don't think anyone was having a bad time. I think that's the beauty of this, is that it's straight up enjoyable. I think you'll hear the word cute thrown around a lot about it, which is fair because this movie is quite cute, and it's fun. It's simply fun, and I think that's what Nintendo is really about. and I hope that they can keep that kind of progression, momentum going forward. More Nintendo movies. I want more. I want Zeldas, Metroids, maybe a new Animal Crossing, Splatoon, like whatever. Go crazy. Make a great big F-Zero movie and a Kirby movie and a Star Fox movie. Whatever they want to do, right? I'll be there. If they're going to keep up this level of quality and maybe even better, absolutely I'll be there. I love Nintendo. I thought this movie was great. I'll give it a soft score of a 8 out of 10. When talking about the score, I give it an 8. Personally, if it was totally personal for the other things, I was teetering on a 7 and 8. Right? It's not flat out like strong 8, great movie, hard to find flaws. There are flaws in it. I think the music, when done good, is beautiful. The scores from the games being used in the movie sound beautiful, and they're used great. However, there are radio hits from the 80s that are just needle dropped in, and I don't understand why, because I think that there are there's so much music from the Mario history that they could have used for different scenes. Like, even though I like most of these songs, I don't need to hear Mr. Blue Sky, I don't need to hear No Sleep Till Brooklyn, I don't need to hear that kind of stuff in a Mario movie, so it was weird. I think that was very much like, that was Illumination's decision more than Nintendo's decision, but I think that's more of a personal preference.
They brought on Koji Kondo, the original Mario composer, to work on this, to bring a more cinematic spin to his original score, and we knew he was gonna nail it, but it really is a treat to hear for yourself and see how within a scene itself he flips between so many iconic Mario songs, how it moves with the movie. It's something that I think I need to watch a couple of times to fully appreciate the work he did. They were pretty sparing with the radio / movie songs. And once I realized it was all from the 80s, it was all to like capture that era a little more, a la Stranger Things. I didn't mind it as much, but nothing beat when Mario's cinema score was playing. I mean, that was just awesome. You could replace any of the 80s songs used in the movie with more Mario music, and I would have been happy.
There are some stuff I wish the movie delved into a little bit more. Yeah, I really loved the opening when Bowser overtaking the Penguin Kingdom. I wish I could have seen more stuff like that. I wish I could see more Luigi and Mario interactions. But there's a plethora of things I could want, but what I got, I thought was really good. And there's not a ton to complain about. It's not made specifically for me. I played these games since I was a little kid, and it's made for little kids. If I was that age now, I would have loved this movie. This would have been amazing. Kids are gonna love it. I think parents are gonna really like it because it's a movie that they can watch and they won't hate it, that their kid loves it. And I thought it was great. It might end up on the best of the year, maybe, which is always fun to say for a video game movie, but yeah. So that'll about do it for my discussion on the Mario movie. Have you seen it? Do you plan on seeing it? Please let me know.
Thank you again, Marinara Man, for allowing me to share my thoughts on this video, for sharing your audience with me. And if we still have your attention, I highly recommend you hop over to my channel and watch me and Marinara Man tackle the original Mario movie together. We have a lot of fun on that one. Thanks again for watching. See you on Hero the Main.
Thank you so much for Hero for doing this collab. Please go check out their channel. The link is in my description, as well as the link to see our other half, which is us talking about the old Mario movie. So please go check that out if you haven't already. Thank you so very much for watching. Like this if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.